so important to be able to be who you are, where you are. And something that is so fundamental to all of us. I mean, it's one of our personality developments. It's one of our important life goals, is to find your spiritual root, whatever that is, and it doesn't matter what it is, but to be able to honor what you need to honor, and to have a community that allows you to do that is phenomenal. In the Unitarian Church, I'm in the middle, and it's very comforting to be able to say, it doesn't make a difference to me. It doesn't make a difference to me whether there is or isn't a God, whether there is or isn't heaven or hell, whether I should or shouldn't pray. It's very freeing. And I think the one thing that I do know, though, is that the world is full of love and wonder, and that's all that matters.
When I was in university, I had the wonderful opportunity to be in a very small class with Frank Herbert, the man who wrote Dune. And one of the things that I learned from him that was the most illuminating for me in my search for truth and meaning was he drew this incredible grid and tried to have us imagine that it was infinite in all directions, and then showed us this concept of what I as an individual can possibly know. And it was this little tiny square in this grid that goes forever in all directions. And it was so visual. He did it in such a good, it's so well done that I was able to really internalize that because it was visual, and I'm a visual thinker. And so when I'm taking inventory of my values or my understanding of truth, I can only assume that what I know is questionable because it's only that itty-bitty, teeny-weeny little thing, and there's so much out there that I can never know, will never know, cannot possibly know. And that's where my concept of faith comes in. Therefore, also, I know that whenever my little grid starts to bleed into the next grid or bleed into the one next to it, that I'm going to be opening myself up to truths that I was not aware of before. So how can you not constantly be your sense of self-truth? It has to be changing all the time, because the more you know, or the more you're exposed to, the more that has to change.
My beliefs have evolved and changed. When I started off as a teenager, I was like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I'm an atheist. I don't believe any of that because God had only been taught to me in Christian churches as a white-bearded man in the sky, and that never worked for me. So I thought I was an atheist, and it wasn't until years later that I heard the concept of a higher power, mainly through 12-step programs, and then evolved my own version of what that higher power looks like, which I love being in a church that I'm free to do that. And it may not be the same as people sitting all around me, but it's okay. And I've come full circle, and now I feel like I call myself a mystic, having mystical experiences and connecting with other earth planes and all that is. And I've never had to change churches in all these years. How cool is that?
So I think that the inherent worth and dignity of every person is really core to me. And I look at healing in the world one person at a time. And I think of pebbles and ripples going out into the community. So if one individual can get over their childhood wounds, their community wounds, whatever, and really live in their fullness of their creativity and the beauty of their spirit and feeling comfortable in their being, that has such a powerful impact on their local community. And out of that, things expand.
I guess on some level I believe that we are all connected and we're all separate. And there's something sacred in honoring both at the same time.
There is a divine force in the universe that is at the macro and micro level, and we're all part of it. And we're here to help the universe evolve even more. And we can help it evolve into a more violent place or more peaceful place, a more generous place. I think there are certain forces in the universe that people sometimes call God, the creative force in the universe, or the attraction force. I mean, there's an attraction force in the universe that at one level is gravity, but another level is love between human beings. So it's all the same force. Same with creativity or self-organization. I mean, there are certain forces that scientists are finding are probably the same thing as God.
Altogether, everything in creation is God to me. It's like a huge ocean is God. And everything that exists are water drops that make up that ocean. That's the only way I can put it together. I get more out of a quantum physics book for dummies than I would ever get out of a Bible.
So one of the big areas is I went from being somebody who was really trying to be a devout Christian to, at this point, some days I'm a pretty severe atheist. There's not this other worldly piece of it. There's just here. It's just what's here, and that's all. And it means that this right here on earth today, right now, is what really matters most.
My biggest sense of truth is that now is all there is. And if it's not right now, it's not ever right. And if now is not right. So I'm really consciously trying to make sure that my moments work. And when you're talking also about principles, I mean, if in this moment my principles are not being lived, then I'm not living my life in principle. And so if I've got to get it right now.
It is our job, I think, as human beings to free ourselves from our hurt and our pain and to be as whole, be the whole person we were born, we were created to be. And so that's what I've been working up to do my whole life. I wish that by living as fully as I can, as honestly as I can, that I can inspire other people to do that too.